Rain poured heavily on the empty streets as most people hurried to get indoors, umbrellas shielding them from the cold. But in a forgotten corner of the city, beneath a flickering streetlight, stood a man who didn't flinch from the storm. His coat was old and thin, soaked through, but his eyes, warm, quiet, and full of something almost sacred, stayed fixed on two small figures huddled near a bench. No one else had stopped. No one had even noticed. But he did. His name was Walter. A solitary man in his late 40s with dark skin weathered by time and hard labor, Walter had lived alone for most of his life. He worked as a janitor at a local school, never drawing attention, never asking for much. People often passed him on the street without a second glance, just another quiet face in a loud world. He didn't mind. Silence had become his comfort. But something about those two little girls, soaked, shivering, with nothing but each other, cut through that silence like a scream. The older girl looked about 8. Her arms were wrapped protectively around her little sister, who couldn't have been more than 4. They didn't cry. They didn't beg. They just sat, still as statues, eyes weary and exhausted. A torn paper bag held a few crackers. The older girl pulled one out and broke it in half for her sister. Walter approached slowly. "You girls lost?" he asked, voice low and gentle. The older one looked up but said nothing. Her lips pressed tightly together. The younger one leaned into her sister, clutching the cracker piece. Walter didn't push. Instead, he sat on the wet bench a few feet away. "I've got some hot soup back home," he said. "Not much, but it's warm." Still, no response. "I'm not gonna hurt you. Just don't like seeing anyone out here in this mess." The older girl finally spoke, voice hoarse. "They left us. Said they'd come back, but they didn't." Walter's chest tightened. He understood abandonment in a way few did. Parents gone. Friends faded. The world forgetting you existed. "What are your names?" he asked. The girl hesitated. "I'm Mia." "That's Zoe." Walter stood, extending a hand. "Come on. Let's get out of the rain." They didn't move at first. But after a long pause, Mia took his hand, helping her sister up. Zoe clutched her sister's soaked sleeve. Together, they walked slowly into the night, 3 souls, broken, but no longer alone. Walter's apartment was small, dimly lit, and smelled faintly of lemon cleaner. It wasn't much, but it was warm. He gave the girls towels and clean clothes from a charity box he kept for the shelter. He poured soup into chipped bowls and watched as they ate like they hadn't tasted food in days. He didn't ask too many questions that night. Just let them be. Let them sleep in his bed while he curled up on the couch. Days turned into weeks. Walter went to work and came home to the sound of laughter. The girls slowly opened up. Mia was sharp, protective, always scanning the room for danger. Zoe was quiet but quick to smile when safe. They'd been in and out of foster homes. Neglected. Forgotten. Until the last one simply left them on a bench in the rain with a lie, "We'll be right back." Walter didn't plan to keep them at first. But something shifted. He started packing lunches for 3. Bought storybooks from thrift stores. Put 2 extra chairs at the dinner table. And when the social worker came, Walter surprised even himself by saying, "I want to keep them. However I need to do it, I'll do it." It wasn't easy. Court hearings. Home inspections. Paperwork that seemed endless. There were nights Walter came home, eyes red from frustration, shoulders heavy. But every time he looked at those girls, curled up on the couch, or helping each other brush their teeth, he knew he couldn't go back to being alone. Mia struggled the most. She'd seen too much. Carried too much. There were days she tested him, trying to see if he'd leave like the others. But Walter never raised his voice. Never left. Instead, he listened. Even when the words were angry or silent. "You don't have to call me Dad," he told them once. "Just know I'm here." Zoe started calling him Papa first. Just once, one morning over pancakes. Walter almost dropped the spatula. 15 years passed like chapters in a book you don't realize you're living until the last page turns. The apartment changed. So did the girls. Mia became a fierce, brilliant woman. She earned a scholarship and became a social worker, wanting to help kids like her. Zoe loved music, she played piano at her church and dreamed of composing soundtracks. Walter, older now, retired from his janitor job. He walked with a slight limp, his hands stiffer than they used to be. But he still made pancakes on Sundays. Still kept their first crayon drawings framed in the hallway. Then, on one chilly fall afternoon, everything changed. Walter stood in his modest living room, wearing his only suit, confused by the invitation. A community center he'd never been to was hosting an event, and the girls insisted he come. They picked him up in a car he didn't recognize, made him close his eyes until they arrived. When he opened them, he saw a crowd. Faces smiling. Cameras flashing. A banner overhead read, "In honor of Walter Green, the man who changed our lives." He didn't understand, until Mia took the microphone. "I was abandoned when I was 8 years old," she began, voice shaking. "My sister and I had nothing. No one. And then a man with nothing but a warm heart and cold soup found us in the rain." Walter's throat tightened. "He took us in, when no one else would. He didn't ask for credit. He didn't expect thanks. But today, we want the world to know who he is." Zoe stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "You saved us, Papa. And now we want to give something back." They handed him a plaque. His name etched in gold. Below it, the title, "The Father We Found in the Rain." Behind them, a video played. Pictures of them growing up. Walter pushing them on swings. Helping with homework. Holding Zoe at her piano recital. Laughing with Mia in the kitchen. Moments he never thought anyone saw, now shared for all to witness. Walter stood frozen, hands trembling as he clutched the plaque. The room blurred with tears. Later that night, back at home, he sat in the same old recliner. The girls were with him, curled up like they had been so many years ago. Except now, they weren't scared children. They were women, strong, grateful, full of love. "I didn't do anything special," he whispered. Mia reached over, taking his hand. "No, Papa. You did something most people are too scared to do. You showed up. You stayed." Zoe smiled. "And you taught us that love doesn't need blood. Just presence." The rain began to fall again outside. Lightly this time. A soft tapping against the windows. Walter leaned back, eyes closed, a soft smile on his face. He was no longer alone. And neither were they. Because sometimes, the most extraordinary love stories don't begin with romance or fairy tales. Sometimes, they begin on a rainy night, with a stranger's outstretched hand and two little girls who finally found their way home.